Hey guys, if you've seen our previous video, you know we lost Melvin. And you also know I plan on doing something special in honor of Melvin. So hang in there and let me tell you all about it.
I'd say he's a nut job.
Okay, so first off, for those of you who don't know who Melvin is, I know I've had a lot of new subscribers on the channel. Matter of fact, we gained about 100 this past weekend when we was at the AHRA No Name Nationals. And we gained almost 100 subscribers this past weekend. So I know a lot of you guys are new, and I didn't bring this car with me this weekend, even though I was planning on it. Melvin was the original owner of this car. He's the guy that bought this car new. He ordered it the way he wanted it, and outfitted the way he wanted it. Military man, he was in the Air Force, and he wanted a car that he could drive around during the week with his base duties or whatever, drive around town, but then he could go racing on the weekend. So Melvin raced this car. This car was '63. That's when this car was new. Think about that. Kind of the Vietnam era. You know what I mean? This car was brand new. And Melvin drove this car, enjoyed this car, and he raced this car. Once Melvin left the military, he raced this car pretty good. He raced this car in the 60s, the 70s, and even into the 80s, if I remember correctly. And then the car had some brake issues. He parked it in his garage, put it up on stands, had a blanket over it, trying to do his best to take care of it. And the car sat there. He was a truck driver by this point, and it was one of those, I'll fix it when I get around to it. And next thing you know, early 2018, some guy knocks on his door and asks if he'll sell his car to him. That's another story. But so Melvin was the owner and caretaker of this car for, I don't know, close to 60 years, 50 years, whatever that math adds up to be, from 63 to 2018. It's 55 years. So split the difference. Melvin was the caretaker of this car. No one had ever driven this car but Melvin, and there's actually a little crease in the door here. And he told a story about that. But that's to slightly catch you up. Now, Melvin, I'd never met Melvin before that, but me and Melvin became good friends really quickly because he didn't really want to sell this car, but he seen my passion for wanting this car. And, you know, Melvin was in his 80s at this time, and he knew he wasn't going to get around to doing anything with it, so he finally made a deal with me on it reluctantly. It was non-negotiable. This is the money. Walk away if you don't want to take it. And I think he actually hoped I'd walk away, but I took the car anyway. I got the car running, and Melvin came by to see the car. As I made the transition to get everything back up and to snuff, Melvin would come by and see the car, and he'd come back by and see the car. And we became good friends. And as I got the car back ready for track condition and back to race, Melvin really wanted to come see the car race, but his health, although Melvin still got around really good, he had bad days and good days. He was, in his 80s. I think it was more just a wear and tear on his body. And as he'd get a little better, he'd talk about coming out to a race, and then either that weekend we were off somewhere way off racing, because we raced like 11 states for 6 years. And Melvin would talk about coming to a race, but he never quite made it. And then when we'd have a local race, he'd say he didn't think his wife could, her health would allow her to be alone. He didn't want to leave her alone, is what I'm saying. And He didn't think her health would allow her to stay out in the heat all day at the track, so he wouldn't leave her side. She's doing fine, by the way. So Melvin never got to watch the car race. But I sent him regular videos, regular photos, and he would still come by the house pretty often to see the car. And every time he go, "Oh, I hated to sell this car, but you've done more with it than I ever would have." So he was very happy with seeing how this car come out. His wife actually told me one time that Melvin seemed to improve in his health once I got this car back on the track. She said he used to just kind of sit around the house and not really do a whole lot, and his body was suffering from it. But as I got to working on his car and putting time in his car, and he'd come see me, it's like he was getting his energy back. She would say he was like the old Melvin again. You know, he was kind of getting that energy back, and I sure am glad that I could offer that to him and give him the pleasure of seeing his car race again. Now, there's two big regrets I have uh, when it comes to this, and normally I'm the guy that life makes you the way it is. There's no reason in having regrets on it. You can't change it, but there's two big regrets with this. One is I've let this car sit for like 6 months. I hadn't even touched this car. I was going to get it ready for the AHRA No Name Nationals and plan on taking it there. And I started tinkering with it again, but I waited too late and just didn't have the time and money to get it ready. So the car really has said it's never actually ran with this combination motors in it. I built this motor and put in it. I put new carburetors and everything on it, and it's just set. We've never run it with this. I don't know. I got burnt out on it, I guess is what I'm saying. After 6 years of this being the race car, this is where I poured my time and money into, and this being what I was doing, I just kind of, I guess for lack of a better term, I kind of got burnt out on it. And I hate to say that, but I did. But one of the things I was in the process of doing is um, I had signed up for the Southeast Street Yeet way back when it first opened, registration first opened, and I started converting this thing back because all the wiring was out of the car by this point to make it more of a race car. And I started converting this thing back to street legal. I'm getting all the lights working, headlights, tail lights, turn signals, the horn works. Everything on this car was working like it was from the factory again. And I started doing all that and using the street and yeet as motivation because I knew if I could get this thing back 100% street legal, me and Melvin could go riding in the car. And that was ultimately the goal, is I wanted to take Melvin for a ride in this car. Uh, he get to go ride around town in his old car again, and especially with a healthy, nasty sounding motor. You know, Melvin loved to hear this thing run. Man, if I changed the combination and seen him a video, it wouldn't be but a day or two. He'd be over at the house to hear it run in person. He loved to hear that old FE run. So my goal was to take Melvin for a ride in this car. Me and him go cruise out, maybe just simple as go get some ice cream in his old car. And none of us think our hourglass is getting empty, but I never thought that I was on short time doing that. I understand that Melvin was an older gentleman, but you seen him get around when he was out here. Yes, he'd have to sit down and catch his breath, but mentally he wasn't an old guy. You know what I'm saying? So I thought I had plenty of time, and it's one of those things I was just going to let this year pass and take something else to street and eat. And well, we'll get back on that after the first year, and then we'll take Melvin for a ride in it. Unfortunately, we won't have that opportunity now, and that's on me. Uh, I fumbled the ball on that one, and that's on me. And the second thing that weighs on me in the last few days is that me and Melvin would actually talk pretty often on the phone. Actually, probably once a week, we would talk on the phone if he didn't come over. And I had been sick for a little while, pneumonia and bronchitis and stuff. It actually took me about 3 weeks to get over. Uh, and Melvin tried to call me. Melvin tried to call me. I don't even remember when he tried to call me. It's still on my voicemail. He tried to call me, and I'm so far behind on customer work right now. Actually, I'm not even doing customer stuff anymore. I'm trying to get the ones I've got done, and I'm so far behind on it. I got 2 engines in there, and I've got a Jeep over there that I've got to finish up, and a couple of things around here. A few things that need to be finished up, and I'm so far behind. And I was out here. I'm just elbows to, well, I'm just trying to get caught up, just over, and I'm just busting my tail out here. And Melvin tried to call me, and Melvin, I absolutely adore Melvin. Melvin's one of those guys that when he calls you, he's going to tell you all the old race stories, and he's going to tell them to you every time he calls you. And it usually ends up being an hour-long conversation. And I looked at the phone and seen it was him, and I was like, I'll call him back because I have got to get these jobs out here done. I'll call him back. And I didn't talk to him. That was the last time that he reached out to me, and I didn't answer the phone. The next time that I seen his name come up on my phone, was Thursday night, Thursday evening, when I was on my way to the AHRA No Name Nationals this past weekend. Thursday, his name come up on my phone, and I answered it, and it was his wife to give me the news. So I got to deal with that. Now let's condense it all down to what y'all really want to know. What we're going to do. What we're going to do to try to honor the Melvin's memory, and I'm going to need a little help. I have somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 days till street and yeet. I don't know if I said this earlier or not, but if you don't know what street and yeet is, think of it as drag week, but it only encompasses North Carolina and South Carolina. Uh, we're going to do the stick shift class. I love stick shift racing, and I love this old car. So we're going to do stick shift class. What I want to do for Melvin is I want to do something that you've never heard me say before on this channel, or if you know me personally, you've never heard me say. I've always raced for fun. The only person I've been competing with is the me from yesterday. Every time I go to the track, I just want to see a little bit faster number on the pass than what I was the time before. That's all I'm after. If we outrun somebody, then that's just a bonus. I don't allow wins and losses to dictate my happiness. I think a lot of people that chase, always constantly chasing wins, it's it dictates their happiness, and when they don't win, they're in just a terrible mood. Anybody that seen me at the track before, I've slung a rod out of a motor and been at a track, hanging out with fans, smiling, taking pictures, signing autographs, whatever. And I'm just as happy as I was when I got there that day because it doesn't matter. Wins and losses do not matter. I've never once said something about going to win a race. I'm going to be at a race, and you've heard me say sometimes when I'd put a new combination in, we're going to go see if we can't give them a good run today. I didn't necessarily mean challenging the people. I honestly meant give the fans a good run because they like to see this big car pull the front tires off the ground and do long John 4 smoky burnouts, and they like to see that kind of stuff. So um, when I say we're going to go out and see if we can give them a run today, I'm more or less talking about let's see if we can, how high we can get the front tires when we launch, and let's see how big of a burnout we can do. And I want the fans to be pointing and go, that's what I'm after. The guy in the lane, I don't care. If he goes out there, who cares? The fans got to see a show, dry hops and everything, you know, the whole thing. So I'm going to say something that I've never said before, and I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart. For Melvin, for to honor Melvin, what I would like to do, and I know this is a big statement, and please don't think I'm taking it as a lighthearted statement, or don't think I'm trying to be arrogant. But what I want to do for Melvin is I want to take this car and I want to win Street Yeet. Oh, I want to take this car and win the stick shift class at Street Yeet, and I want to do it for Melvin. But time to get the car ready and get the stuff for the car is getting short. Uh, it's in November. It's the first weekend in November, or it's the second weekend in November. I can't remember how the calendar falls. Um, it starts on the 7th of November, so I don't have long. I don't know. I don't have a calendar in front of me. It's a little over 30 days, maybe. I don't think it's quite 40 days, 35 days, something like that, that I have to get this car ready. That presents a monstrous problem for me. What little bit of income I have coming in, expendable income I have coming in, is from YouTube. And they pay based on watch hours, as you know. So when people watch a video, like you're watching this video, every 1,000 watch hours, you get a few pennies. You know what I'm saying? So that's where the income comes from. So there's not a lot of time to make enough income to get the parts I have left I needed. I'm running a tunnel ram 2.4s. They're sideways. I need that special linkage for carburetors mounted sideways. I need that linkage. I need some um, fuel lines, some AN lines, some AN fittings. I need some uh, I don't know if I'll have time to change the rear tires or not. I got a little bit of wiring left to do in here. Um, there were some other parts that I needed too that I can't think of right off the top of my head. A lot of it has to do with fuel induction with AN lines and throttle linkage and just several things that I need to do to finish this car up to have it ready. I probably do need new rear tires because these have been on there for a while. I've got to change the rear gear in it because it's a street gear. I'm actually going to carry, when I say I'm serious about trying to win this, I'm serious. I'm actually going to carry a spare short block in a trailer with me. I don't have a trailer hitch on the back of this. I've got to do that. So I've got to put together a short block. We're going to swing for the fences, and we're going to do everything we can to try to do it for Melvin. And I need help. I've never asked for help really before, but I'm asking for it this time. And there's several ways that people can help. The easiest way to help me get this done is to take this video and just blow it up and make it go viral. We need watch and we need shares. Share the video with anybody and everybody you can think of. And tell them, doesn't matter if you actually watch the video, put it on in the background while you do laundry or while you're working on your car or whatever, put it on in the background and lay it aside, just let it play. Doesn't matter uh, how it gets, how the watch hours get there, as long as they get there, as long as the video's playing somewhere. If we can make this video just blow up and get 100,000 views, then the income off of that will buy the parts that I need to do this. Oh, and I got to change the fuel cell too because I need a bigger fuel cell. Right now I'm running a 5-gallon cell in the back of this thing, and well, an FE with a tunnel ram and 2.4s are not, it's not going far on 5 gallons. So that's another thing I got to change. I think my seat belt's out of date, so I got to change the seat belt to a seat belt's in date. And I'm going to have a co-pilot, so I got to add a seat belt on the passenger side where it doesn't have one now. There's several things I've got to purchase, and time is going to run out quickly on being able to get this done. So one way you can help is simply watch and please share the video. Subscribe if you hadn't. Uh, So that is one way you can help. Another way you can help is if you feel in your heart that you have something laying around that will help this car that you don't need and you want to donate. Hey, I normally don't ask people to do that, but if you want to donate it, I will put a P.O. box in the description, and you can send some stuff if you think you've got something that'll help us um, get through the process of doing this, whatever that may be. Uh, and of course, there is always the other option. It's the least popular one when you start talking about needing help, and it's if you want to send us a little money, I'll put a link in the description that I have for a sponsorship is the best way to put it. But you're allowed to enter any amount you want to. You can do 25 cents, $25, or $200. It doesn't matter. Whatever number you want to put in there, you decide, and you donate whatever you want to if you want to donate monetarily. Um, and again, time is running short, and the biggest factor for me is being able to get the stuff I need in time to make this thing ready for street and yeet. The brakes. That was the other thing I was trying to think of. So I had a disc brake kit for this car, but when I took the wagon on drag week last year, I took the disc brake kit that I had in the box for this car and I put it on the wagon. This car is still running four-wheel drum brakes. And it's on the ragged edge of being too fast to get stopped at the end of the track. It still does stop, but it's one of those where you're in there going, come on, come on, come on, and it finally, gets stopped. And the car should be faster with this motor than it has been in the past. So that's the big expense for me is I need to get a disc brake set up on the front of this car. Now, I could do that by simply trying to find a later model Galaxie that came factory with disc brakes and trying to get all that stuff off of it, but I have to find one. Aftermarket disc brakes kits are not in my budget at all. I simply have no money to spend on something like a Wheelwood kit or anything like that. They're completely out of my price budget. Um, it's always going to be manual brakes, but it needs to be disc brakes. I prefer manual on a race car. I always have. I like to be able to feel the brake pressure, and a lot of that has to do with when you're doing your burnouts and all, and when you're staging. So that was what I needed to address on the front end. I need to do a brake upgrade. Now at the end of the day, I'm not scared to send this bitch with the drum brakes that are still on it. I've been doing it for years, and I'll continue to do it if I don't figure out a way to put those on there. But it does need them. So that's what I want to do in honor of Melvin. I want to win the Southeast Street Meet. I know that is a big statement. I understand the weight behind that statement. Trust me, I really, really do. I know that's not something that I can just say with ease. Understand that it's not a statement I make lighthearted. I honestly believe the car itself is fast enough and capable. The car is probably not safe enough with things like the brakes and all. But I do have to get those few things. On the list of little things, I also need to add a kill switch in the back of the car, but to keep with the period of the car, I want one of the ones that have the rod that's push pull. I don't want the big knob on the back, so I've got to get that. There is a list of things that I need to get to make this happen, and financially, I cannot do it before then. So hopefully, there's someone out there that is able and willing to help us out a little bit. We want to do this for Melvin. We want to get it out there. Like I was saying, I believe the car is quick enough to be competitive for street and yeet. I don't believe the speed and the ETs the car runs will be the issue. I believe the things that will be the issue with the car, because it hasn't actually been driven on a road since the 80s probably. It's only been on the track. So an eighth mile at a time and then loading it up, or an eighth mile at a time and it's sitting in a pitch, is a lot different than thousands of street miles with eighth mile passes. So I think the issue with this car is going to be its sustainability on the road. So I need to address all the things that make it sustainable on the road, and need to get some street miles under it before street and yeet, which means if I've got 35-ish, again, I don't have the calendar in front of me. I think it starts November the 7th, but if I have 35-ish days till it has to be ready to go through tech at the track, I'd like to have at least a week uh, to drive it around and sort through any small issues that it might give me. Again, and I'm also thinking about building a spare short block and having a spare short block with me that I can have on a trailer. I got to put a hitch on the back of it. I won't carry a spare short block. I'll carry a spare fuel pump, spare wheels and tires. There's a lot of stuff that I'm going to carry with me, with the full intention of, if we have to tear this car down in a pit at one of the stops, it's going to happen. Whatever it takes to win street and yeet for Melvin, we are all in. I've never went into any kind of race or event before with the mindset to win it. I've always went in with the mindset that I'm going to put on a show for the fans, and I'm going to try to be better than I was the last time I was there. This is a completely different mindset. I really hope nobody takes this as me being a complete asshole, but this is not about putting on a show for the fans. This is not about uh, being the guy that goes out there and just wants to show the car off. This is not about being the guy that just wants to go out and knock down a few laps. That's not what this is about. This event is about one thing, that is winning street and yeet, and to do it in Melvin's memory. Um, so I know I rambled a lot, but that is the goal for this event. That is the goal for this car, and that is what I want to do for Melvin. We thought a lot of Melvin. There's not many of those guys around before that can tell their stories. I am very honored to have known him and to have called him my friend. I was very fortunate to spend time with one of the guys that really was there. I mean, we have put a lot of effort in that car to be period correct, and to be to race like they did in the 60s, and all those things that, you know what I mean. But I was fortunate enough to sit down and have conversations with a guy that really was there when all that went on, that could really tell you how it really was. It was an honor to be his friend. And I know there's people out there that feel like they have a lot of friends. My wife is one of them. My wife has a lot of friends. There's people call and text her all the time. I've never been a guy that has a lot of friends. Melvin was my friend. We are going to win street and yeet for my friend. I hope to see y'all at the track soon testing with it. But we've also got another Galaxie that we're going to be at the track with testing. I was hoping to be at the track with it this weekend testing, but it looks like we're about to get some scary, nasty weather end of this week, so that won't happen if that's the case. Y'all hang in there with us and see what we can do. We've got at least a week that we're going to have to burn before we can even start doing stuff to the Galaxie. So if you want to help out, you've got time. I still have to finish up a couple of motors in there, and they have to get out of here to make room, really, for me to do the stuff to the Galaxie. So we've got at least a week before I can even start on it. So if you want to help out, you've got time. But please, it doesn't cost you a single dime to comment, like, and share these videos and subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. But when you share these videos with people, you make a major impact on what we're able to do, anybody on YouTube. So it doesn't cost you a single dime to share this video with people and ask them, please just play it. It doesn't matter if you lay it on the arm of the couch and you go do something else. Just play the video so it gets watch hours. And the more watch hours we got and the faster we blow this video up, the more income we can have to do these things with the car. Now, again, we have like 35 days and I'm going to lose at least 5 days of that. So let's say we got 30 days total and we want to have at least a week to drive it around. We're taking another 7 or 8 days off of that. Let's say we've got 20 days to do all the work and get all the parts for this car. The quicker this video blows up, the quicker we make income to do these things. So with that being said, that was a long-winded video. I apologize for not being much action in it, but people have been asking me. So that is what I have planned to honor Melvin. And I hope that you guys can see my vision too. And you subscribe, like, comment, and share. And I'll put the links in if you want to help out with monetary, or if you want to send us something. I will put the appropriate ways to do that in the description. God bless y'all. I hope the Lord bless you more today than he did yesterday. To him be all the glory. And we'll see you on the next one.
I'd say it's a nut job.